I'm excited to share these live episodes with you from the 2024 NADA show in Las Vegas. I'm on the LotLink stage interviewing our industry leaders out there who have been so gracious to share the stage with me. We're doing live recordings. They're sharing strategies to help our industry and our businesses level up. I hope you enjoy each and every one of these episodes. Listen and learn. Hey, it's Jen Suzuki, and I'm in the industry. I meet some of the greatest leaders out there, dealer execs, dealers, GMs, and I'm bringing them in the studio to talk to me about what's making their business pop, what's accelerating their growth. I'm sharing my own personal strategies for your sales teams, so I'm ready to get after it. Are you? Welcome back, listeners, to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. I have Jasen Rice with me. You probably have heard his name. He's been around a while. Everybody loves him. And he's the founder of LotPop. And anyway, I always hear such great things about you. Welcome, Jasen.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. You guys have a beautiful booth here. This is a nice, good entrance, everything.
Yeah, I know. That's not my booth. Yeah. But I got to tell you, LotLinks has just been such a great, really, just always behind and helping and supporter of the podcast, and I know of you as well.
Yes. We our dealers get the benefit from their data, so they've helped our dealerships quite a bit.
Okay,
so they're doing a good job.
I'm always looking for something that you're willing to share. You see thousands of dealers. I mean, literally every day, Jasen is fighting for dealer success. I mean, that's what really prompted him to build a technology that can support dealers in some of their biggest problems.
Yes.
And be there as a solution provider. But, in my travels too, because I'm in dealerships, I see thousands of people every single month. I always get a chance to see the holes. I see the problems. And I get excited because I'm a problem solver, and I know you are too.
Yep.
But tell me some of the biggest challenges that you're seeing that dealers are facing right now, and tell me, give me some tips, man. I don't know where's the money at.
I think inventory is the biggest thing. I'll focus mostly on used cars, but what I imply here will apply to new cars because they're starting to sit too.
Okay.
Is I guess the two biggest focus areas that I try to drive dealerships on inventory management is obviously gross and volume. You can do both. You don't have to pick one or the other. And how we track that is for the dealers is the first thing is the best time to sell it, make the most money on the car is sell it while it's fresh.
Yes.
Okay. So we call it first 30. You want to increase the amount of cars you sell in the first 30 days. And that metric that they want to track or trend should be about 60 to 70% of their sales go out in the first 30 days.
Okay.
If you do that, you're going to maximize your gross profit on these cars. But if not, you got to figure out what's slowing you down. But focus there first. First 30, do that. Then the second thing is carry what you sell what you carry. If you got 100 cars, sell 100 cars. You don't need 150 to sell 100. Okay. So, if you're not doing that, then break that down and figure out why. And you'll find, it could be you've got too many trucks, not enough compact SUVs. It could be your photos got behind, your pricing got up. But that just looking at those two metrics will force your hand to then dive deeper into that. And so just do those two at least.
So you've obviously identified this because you're working with dealers, you're starting to see some trending, and you're like, okay, here's the things so tell me, what's changed for the dealers that have started to change their behavior and target these couple areas? What have you started seeing? How do I know it's working? How do I know? What am I looking for to say, yes, okay, things are getting better?
Yeah, well, again, it's that fresh sale rate. Because right now the cars are depreciating fast. It's going back to our normal market. We had 2 or 3 years of abnormality that wasn't typical. And so the hard part is a lot of new management and sales staff never knew the previous life, right?
Agreed.
They haven't been there before. So this is that fresh, new, okay, we got to get back to the basics mindset. So the other things that they're doing just to make that difference is going into the lead management part of it. Because, again, fundamentals, we didn't have to work leads. We would say, hey, if you're not interested, I got 2 other people here.
Exactly. Okay, bye.
Yeah, and so a lot of the slowdown of our sale rates is just giving up on customers too soon, going back to trying to increase fresh sale rates. I ask a dealer, do you want to increase or decrease the odds of a car selling while it's fresh? Everybody would say, well, increase it. Well, what are we doing right now? Well, you're pricing it above market to give it a shot.
Okay.
It's taken 10 to 15 days to get through service. That's taken too long. And you're not being proactive on any of that stuff. So by pricing it above market, are we increasing or decreasing it? Well, we're decreasing it. So I go, okay, so is it a smart decision? So they're reacting a little bit faster, down a bit. The other thing, again, with lead management, and a lot of dealers are struggling with turnaround time. Parts hold, transportation's a big issue right now. And so going back into leads, we found that because LotLinks does a great job with driving those leads. But what we found is 60 to 70% of those leads can't buy the car they inquired about anymore. And dealerships you got a 20-day lead that you've been calling an email and the car sold, they're going to move that lead to lost. But if you really think about it, if that customer came in your showroom floor, you wouldn't turn around and say that car's sold and walk away. You would slow them down.
You'd ask more questions.
And put them on something
else. You'd be in switch car mode.
Exactly. So what about this 2-day-old car that, just got to lot? You're going to price it high and still is not photoed ready for sale. You get no leads. So your BDC internet department only works cars they get leads on. So they're not helping you sell those freshest cars where all the gross is. But here's the thing. You got a fresh car with no leads, but what about in your database? You might have 10 people looking for a compact SUV at 20 grand. Let's call and email those 10 people and sell that car at day 2. Get a deposit, expedite in your turnaround time, and increase your fresh sale rate and make the money. So you can ask a little premium for that car because they don't know it's a premium. They just know it's a 20 grand car, right?
Yes.
And so if you can get your team to actually work these fresh leads, don't give up on them.
Yes.
Right? You already wasted 30, 40, 50 bucks for that lead. You know their name, their contact information, the segment, the price point. What better lead than that?
Yeah.
And they're sitting in your database right now.
Right. Go after the database and look for the leads that were on cars like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even if those cars were gone.
So all the excuses going back to, I can't sell 60, 70%, or I need 150 to pad to sell 100 because I got turnaround time issues, I got transportation issues, I got a photo. Okay, well, that's fine. That's all excuses that you can't solve, but here's what you can do. Don't sit and wait for the up bus. You got tons of people sitting there waiting for the leads and work those.
Yeah.
And so once they start seeing that stuff work, that's where they go, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah. By now, you've probably heard the team at LotLink say that over 70% of your inventory is not receiving marketing exposure. Whether you believe them or not, have you taken a look at your analytics to be sure? The LotLink's VIN-View Optimizer is a free analytics tool that can give you a pricing, demand, and engagement analysis for every VIN on your lot. It's the most efficient way to ensure your inventory is getting the right attention for the right price. The best part is that the data is pulled straight from your own Google Analytics and store feed. There's no bias from any channel or marketing platform, including LotLinks. So if you're interested in a transparent look at your inventory analytics, head to lotlinks.com/VVO to get started with the free tool. And check out the LotLinks website in the show notes. Yeah, somebody told me the other day that internet leads are, gosh, I wish I remember the exact number, but are you seeing that? So, I used to say all the time, there's a segment that are at 90 days. They might have ghosted you for 90 days, but now they start to wake it up.
Yeah.
But I heard somebody say the other day, it's far longer than 90 days right now. What have you seen?
Well, I got a study from cars.com it was a couple of years ago, 21, I think, 22. But they surveyed 1,000 customers that were shopping on their website. And of those thousands of people that were buying a car within 12 months, they said only 23% were buying in 30 days.
Yeah.
Okay. Over half of them were taking longer than 6 months.
I know.
49%.
6 months. I think that's actually what I heard.
Yeah, because and it makes sense because last year, my wife's lease was up in June. But what do we get in January? As a Volvo. Volvo sent us a letter saying, hey, do you want to get out of your lease 6 months early?
Maybe.
And at no cost, right? We'll upgrade you for free. Essentially, you go into the new car. And so, of course, my wife started searching for cars 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
And we weren't going to do we were done a used Highline SUV, 35, 50 grand. And she was looking at Jaguars, BMWs, Mercedes, and Porsches and all over the place shopping. She submitted leads. And guess what? We could have been buying in January. We could have bought in June. They didn't know.
Right.
And we ended up buying in February. And I had 2 car payments for 4 months. They didn't think I could buy because they thought, their lease ain't up till June. They never followed up with her. And in the meantime, I bought a car because it was $9 grand cheaper. Interest rates were going up. One owner, clean Carfax. I'm like, just buy it now. We'll suck it up for 4 months, and then we'll turn your lease in. But they gave up on us.
Yeah, a lot of people do because I think sometimes they just don't think that it's worth chasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people a year before termination, whether it's a lease or it's a finance contract, start a year because a lot of the people that bought, to 2020, they didn't get what they wanted.
No.
And we
didn't get the heated seats because the part wasn't available.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a reason to call people and be prospecting. But I like what you're saying with the database, because I think it's a reminder that if people are waiting that long, if you submitted a lead, look, I have your information. Why not kick it? Call, ask some better questions. Like, we actually might be able to put them on a different car. And let's face it, people are squirrels. They change their mind. If we don't have that car, the chances are they are looking at multiple cars. Do you agree? They're looking at multiple brands.
Yeah.
It's our job to pull it out of them to figure out the search criteria.
I'll give you two big examples going back to my wife. One, first, work the driveway, not the lead. So here's here's the reason why. Within a 12-month period, I had a co-sign for my son. My wife's lease was up, so I had to replace that. My daughter's Honda lease was up, and we either had to buy that or sell that. And then I had a 16-year-old daughter who needed a car. 4 transactions in one driveway. So when my wife submitted a lead and they didn't follow up, my wife called me. I was at work, and she was at a Porsche dealership. They had a Cayenne and a Macan, and she was driving a few of them. And it was a female salesperson. I bring this up because she even mentioned to me yesterday, because we were talking about this. She called me up and she said, "This lady's getting so rude with me." I'm like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Well, I'm just asking to drive some cars." And she's like, "She don't think I can buy." I said, "Well, babe," I said, "You're like the season pass at Six Flags. You're riding them all the rides, and they don't think, they don't think you can buy." I said, "So she thinks she's wasting your time with you." And she told me yesterday, she's like, and it was a female too. You would have thought she would have went above and beyond for me, thinking that, but she just blew me off. She was mad. I said, "Well, I kind of understand." But my point being is, not only did she not take care of my wife at that point in time, and didn't know, we went right across the street to a BMW store within weeks and bought a car.
Wow.
And had 2 car payments. And they never even followed up. And then months later, I took my 22-year-old's lease, bought it, and gave it to my 16-year-old, and then she kept that, and then I took my son. We transferred and got my 16-year-old daughter a car. But again, if they worked the driveway, they would have had 4 days. If she would have took care of my wife, asked us what else if anybody doesn't,
A lot of times people don't ask enough questions and they don't slow down.
Yeah.
Because I think we were used to skipping steps, or we didn't know what the steps were in the sales process. We're just like, "Do you want to buy?"
Yeah. If not, somebody else is.
Right, yeah.
You're wasting my time.
And I think it's a good reminder, today, slowing it down, thinking about the data that's out there, and thinking about a customer's behavior. Consumers are changing, and dealers have to change too. I mean, I love the go get your own lead. It's right there in the service department, right there on the drive. We got lots of appointments today.
Well, so what we're finding, and LotLinks does a good job with this on the car part. So I spoke yesterday, and the 3 numbers I gave was a 50, 50, 60.
Okay.
So here's what we found. 50% of your leads are on just 10% of your inventory. Again, I think that's stuff that LotLinks expose. So if you equate a lead to an activity, half the calls and emails are only impacting, let's say, 10 cars if you got 100 on your lot. So
yes.
Now the next number was half your cars have no leads.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if BDC only works cars that get leads on there, if you got 100 cars, they're not helping you sell the other 50 because they have no leads.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to the 60 rule, though, where 60, 70% of your active leads are on cars that are sold. Why don't we put them on the 50% with no leads? So here, I have an example. A dealer had a 60-day-old car. He's losing 10% ROI, losing money, price aggressively, no leads. That BDC is not helping them sell that car. Mm-hmm. And what do they typically do? Drop the price to get more leads. But I showed them, they had 30, because it was a Honda CRV at 20 grand. I'm like, you got 33 people in your database looking for a compact SUV at 20 grand.
Yes.
If you just called half of them,
this is amazing.
That's 17
right
calls and emails on that car.
Yes, this is a moment right here.
Yeah. And so in the meantime, you got a Volvo with 19 leads that's losing money. All the age cars have all these leads. We're spending... There's 2 cars, 38 leads, 19 leads, 57 leads. If you call, that's 57 calls and emails on 2 cars.
Yeah.
In the meantime, and I told him, I said, this isn't best practice, but that Volvo with 19 leads, don't call any of them. And guess what? You'll still sell it. Because one of those customers going, hey, can I get a deposit? That's a great deal. It's a car that was price aggressive that everybody wanted.
Yeah.
They'd show up and beg you to buy that car. Hold it. I'm coming in Saturday. Here's a deposit. I'm not saying that's best practice, but that's where we're spending. In the meantime, we got a 60-year-old Escape that no one's calling her a Honda. But if
so
you work
maybe you don't need to mark it down. Go get proactive in the database and go find the people that were looking for that car.
And switch them.
Let them know.
They got to buy something else anyways. So might as well be from you.
Yes.
So
I love this. Great advice.
thank you. That's the stuff. Again, LotLinks does a great job exposing that stuff, but it's the switch leads that I think you want to really take advantage of.
Yeah, I love this angle. This is an excellent angle. I think you gave us our golden ticket.
There you go then.
Thank you so much, Jasen. I really appreciate your time and your expertise, and congratulations on all your success.
You too. You've done a great job, and appreciate for having me on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you like these episodes and my sales game techniques, you should snatch up our latest dealer education program I'm hosting. It's called Jen's Remote Classes, and it's a 1-hour, once-a-week class with me alongside other dealerships, all pursuing the same end game to achieve top 10% status in your dealership. For more info, hit me up. All my contact info's in the show notes. I want to hear from you. And follow Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki right now to get notified when episodes like this one drop. This is Jen on the podcast Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. See ya!